What's up, YouTubers? It's Nick here with Real Talk with Nick, and I have a very special guest. I haven't been on here for a long time. Life has been a little bit busy. As you guys know, I have moved since then to Malibu, and I have my awesome friend here from Atlanta, Georgia. Dan, I met him in Thailand. We actually ordained at IDOP together to become a monk.
How long ago was that?
Couple years
ago, yeah.
Yeah, a couple years ago. And for me, I wanted to bring him to the conversation because Dan helped me a lot. You guys know that I work as a marriage and family therapist, and Dan really is so smart when it comes to Buddhism. He's an intellect. He's a professor at what school?
At the College of Coastal Georgia.
Nice.
Yeah.
All the way from there, and he's studying to become a doctor, medical doctor. Yes,
Yep.
so he's almost there, but he's all the way here to answer some of the questions that we might have regarding mental health and how a Buddhist perspective would explain some of these questions. Just daily questions, but I don't know. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dan. So just like Nick said, he did a really good introduction. I don't really have anything else to add to that. Other than I'm a lifelong Buddhist, I believe it's a really good religion, and it provides you with a guideline for how to do things in your life.
Right.
And
Yeah. So let's start with the basic. What is Buddhism?
That's a question that we get all the time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people say, Buddhist is a religion. Some say Buddhist is a philosophy. I think of it more of a lifestyle. It's the way you think, the way you see the world. So, and it's one of those things that you can be a Buddhist without having to go through a special ceremony. One day, if you want to be a Buddhist, you can be a Buddhist. Right? Just to change the way you think.
Yeah. So if it's a lifestyle, what is
Right.
the basic premise of Buddhism?
Right. So I say the core of the Buddhist is to be aware of your sense surrounding environment. One of their core teaching of the Buddha is to learn how to detach from the material world. So, Buddhism teach you how to live in that material world, but not attached to it.
Yeah.
Because the attachment is what causes a lot of sufferings and things that leads to depressions, anger, things like that.
Yeah. So how can people in daily life live their lives? Because we have to work. People have relationships. People have things to do. How do you not attach? What does that mean?
Right. So that's one thing a lot of people have trouble with. There's a fine line between showing compassion with others, like having a relationship, friendships, and work balance with the work and life. But then you have to also keep a distance between all of that. Like you can be compassionate without being attached to that.
Right.
Let's say, for example, you can play video games. People do that all the time. But are you playing it for relaxation, or are you playing it because you're addicted to it?
Right.
So you can live in the material world, but learn to have control over it. So that's the thinking of the Buddhists.
Right. So if someone says like, "Hey, I want to practice Buddhism," what does that mean? How do you get started?
Right. So the way to get started, I would say you can find yourself a friend who is Buddhist and talk to them, or there's a lot of resources online. You can look it up. There's some books. There's a lot of books online that you can start reading. That's one way to get started.
Yeah, can you explain one of the big tenets for Buddhism is that life is suffering? What does that mean?
Life is suffering.
So
So what it means by life is suffering is a lot of things that we deal with in daily activities are not there forever. People go through educations, say throughout high school, college, get their degree. They think that's the happiness. Get a job. They think that's their goal in life. Make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, that's not those are not the things that will stay with you forever.
Right.
And everything that you own in this lifetime, you don't really own any of that at the end of your life. You might own a house, you might own multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar business, but you can't take any of that with you
Right.
to your afterlife. So that's what they meant by life is suffering, because anything in this world does not provide you with lasting happiness.
Yeah.
That's why they say like life is suffering. It doesn't mean that there's no happiness in your life. You can enjoy your material world. You can definitely get enjoy your playing your video games. Go surfing, go skydiving, have live a life. But at the end of the day, nothing lasts forever.
Right.
That's what they meant by life is suffering.
Yeah. Why do you think, I know in the United States, we have everything, we have all the opportunities. It's such a progressive country,
Right.
but why do we have so much like mental health, so much depression? We have
Right.
the biggest wealth, we have all the opportunities, but at the same time, it seems like we have the most anxiety, most depression, most
Right.
relationship issues.
Right.
What is that?
Yeah, because that's one thing about the Western civilizations. We are so heavily relied on material world that we so heavily relied we so heavily rely on getting your happiness from the material. Like you go to shopping, when you get bored, you look things up on YouTube just to watch funny videos. Go to movies. If you ask yourself like what are things that you do in your life to makes you happy, I say a lot of people have something to do with buying something.
Yeah. So external.
Yeah, exactly. Getting gifts from other people, and
Yeah.
things like that. So pretty much everything that we do in Western culture, we get happiness from an object.
Oh, wow.
When you don't get what you want, that's when you start getting all the problem and trouble.
Yeah. So then how do people switch that? Because people right now are so addicted to
Right.
Facebook and
Exactly.
comparing, and how do you shift it?
And that's exactly what's going on with people who are addicted to Facebook, because when you post something and people react to that,
Right.
that feed into like the dopamine systems. You get addicted to it because you enjoy the reaction from other people. You get that joy out of that.
Right.
So that's how social media works pretty much. You get Snapchat, Twitter, and all that. So it revolves back to how you get your happiness from. Yeah, you get happiness from the outside, external sources, and what happened when you no longer have access to Facebook
Right.
and all that, or people defriend you on Facebook, then it causes problem with depressions, sufferings, and people have, and that contribute to a lot of issues in Western society.
Yeah. So how do they change that?
Yeah, and changing that, you have to understand where you have to learn that those are not your life. Like you don't depend your life on that. Basically, change the way you think. Like they are there. There's a purpose to the social media and the Facebook and all that. they're meant to be a way to connect with your friends. They connect with your friends, but they are not. Like you don't put your happiness, like don't draw your happiness from it.
Yeah. So
change
use
the
it,
way you think.
Yeah, and use it for the right intention.
Right, use it for right intention, and not for feeding yourself with
your ego.
and things like that.
Yeah,
So-
because I think that's one of the biggest thing I learned from ordaining in Thailand as a monk was really using everything for its purpose. We learn how to eat to nourish the body. Not cravings where it's like, I need it extra spicy, I need it extra hot, I need it extra something for the taste, but more of, I need the bare minimum to nourish that body and we feel it. When we sleep in the bedroom is designed to rest.
Exactly.
Not to have dinner, not to watch TV, not to anything. Again, I guess that would be the same thing with social media, where it's to connect. It's a platform,
Right.
but
And-
not where you derive your sense of self.
Exactly. And another thing I want to add with IDOP program is that there was one time when we were having, I think we went out to the more of a rural area. We were giving pieces of bread, a little bit of ham, I think it was some fried eggs on the side as well.
Yeah.
So there was basically a deconstructed sandwich. So I got creative and tried to basically make my own little sandwich as a monk, and I got scolded on that because and I did not understand why at the time, because basically this basically put things together, a piece of bread here, some eggs, some ham, and I was gonna eat it. It should not matter like how I gonna eat it.
Right.
But I later learned that like what you said, like you eat because you want to get substance to nourish yourself. But my intention of putting all the pieces of food together and to construct a sandwich, that create so that was the way to create a luxury for myself, because now I'm trying to create something other than what it's intended for.
Right.
So,
And now it seems like it makes sense why people suffer so much, because then now food is for beauty.
Right.
It's
So-
then I need to eat these amount of macros. I need to have exactly 1,100 calories, so then I can look good. Then I
Right.
can use my platform to show my progress. Then I can, so it just keeps going. But
Exactly.
it seems like the more people suffer is because what you're using it for is just the wrong intention.
Exactly. Yeah. And when I did not, get to do that, then I was a little upset.
Right.
Then like, what's going on? Like, why
Right.
can't I do this? And then not until later that I truly understand the purpose of why they try to do that.
Right. So maybe that's one of the tips for anyone who is kind of suffering right now is, again, go back to the basics and start cleaning it up.
Right.
Like if you can't sleep, well, look at your bedroom and get rid of the TV, get rid of the iPod, get rid of the computer, and your bedroom should be a bed
Exactly.
and a pillow
So-
and a blanket. That's a bedroom.
That's the purpose of having the bedrooms. You
Right.
just sleep in it, nothing else.
At the right time.
At the right time. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, not a dinner table, but again, and then even the same thing with food. Go back to the basics of eating this to nourish my body versus I'm using it for something else.
Yeah. Right.
Awesome. What are your thoughts on meditation and why it's so important for Buddhists?
Right. So meditation is the way Buddhists use as a practice to learn about yourself, getting inside of to look at yourself in the mirror, kind of thing. Basically it's you slow down your mind, stop thinking about external stimuli, and then you only look at yourself during your meditations, and that's a way to fix a lot of problems that we have in society, depressions, mental issues, and relationships.
Yeah.
And that's how you change your cognitive thinking as well. That's how you reflect on yourself by doing a meditations, and then take that problems that you have in your daily activities and kind of think about it while you're doing your meditations. And by doing by reflecting on that problems during your sessions, that's how you fix the problem. You will see the solution to your problems.
Yeah, and it sounds like the answers come quickly because meditating is cutting off all the five senses.
Right.
And getting tuned into that inner truth. And it was weird because before I went to Thailand, I kept asking, I'm like, what the heck is everyone keeps saying where they said if you get quiet, the answer just shows up? I'm like, what does that mean?
Right.
But what I found from my experience is then you tune out your thoughts, then you tune out your perceptions, then you tune everything out, and then slowly the answer
it will pop up.
comes.
Yeah, it comes up on its own.
Yeah.
And
because you take out the details.
Right.
You take out the stories, you take out perspective, and then it's just one solid issue.
Exactly. And you in addition to all taking out all the external stimuli, you also take out your emotion. Right.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. There's a lot of things that you go through in, say, medical school and all that.
Right.
A lot. People said going through medical school is a emotional roller coaster.
So now that you say that out loud, that really is the thing to take away, because why people have so much mental health, the depression, the anxiety, all those things, because they attach to the emotions that come.
Exactly.
Versus just, again, tune out all your senses, and then you're not attached to that. I don't know, can you speak more?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of my friends who have mental breakdown from trying to study for like board exams or study for final exams, things like that, because they're so scared of failing the exams, But if you break it down, what exam is, it's basically asking questions of what you know. If you study well enough, you will know the answer. That's all it is. So if by doing meditations, you learn to face your problems logically and take away all the emotions, and that helps. That's the way to fix the problems with a lot of problems that we have in society.
Yeah. So when you strip it down, it's like, for example, taking a test, it's asking questions, you answer it.
Right.
And in our world is, holy crap,
Yeah.
my life, what are people going to say
My life
about
depends on this exam.
How
I
are
have
they
to
going to
pass.
judge me?
Right.
If I fail, then I'm not good enough. People think I'm dumb. I'm not.
Exactly.
And then you attach to that perception, and that's why you suffer. Okay, makes sense. What about, I get a lot of questions regarding relationships and breakups.
Okay.
How do people move on from that? Where it seems like in the West, it's so difficult where a relationship can destroy you.
Right.
And you're like, I can't move forward, my life is done,
Right.
I'm a nobody. How
Exactly.
do people get over that using Buddhism? I don't know.
That's a tough question, because people get attached to relationships, and especially when people invested so much time and efforts to build up that relationships.
Right.
So it's like how I've tried to construct a sandwich out of that pieces of bread and ham and eggs and cheese when I was during the ordinations. You put the effort and time to create a relationship,
Right.
just to being taken away or lose it at the end.
Right.
That's what form is that? That's attachment. That's you expect
Holy crap.
something that you create to pay back
Yeah.
all the effort and time that you put in, and when that's taken away through the breaking up with the relationships, of course that's you're gonna lead to suffering because you're attached to
Yeah.
to that thing that you invested in by change the way you think. Thinking
Right.
about Buddhism, everything comes and goes in your life. Nothing lasts forever. And there's a motto that I go by all the times when I'm facing things that makes me happy and things that make me sad is that these too will pass. And you can apply that with anything that happened to you.
Right.
You can win first prize in lottery. That too will pass. You may feel happiness for a certain period of time,
Right.
but when you run out of money or you don't know how to spend the money wisely, they will go away. When something bad happened to you, say you got fired from your job,
Yeah.
you can tell yourself that too will pass.
Right.
You can get your feet, get up on your feet, find yourself another job. Maybe you can find a better job. You know.
Right.
So and same thing with relationship. That too will pass. You may have a good relationship now. How do you know it's gonna last forever? So have that in your mind, in the back of your mind that this too will pass. You
Yeah.
know, even with people who stay together for 20, 30 years, eventually one of them gonna pass away. So,
Yeah.
and so that is something in Buddhism that will guide you to how to live your life. So
Right.
have that in the back of your mind. Nothing will last forever.
Yeah.
Life is suffering, like we talk about.
Yeah,
So,
and it's so interesting because now working as a therapist here in Malibu, and I can speak from experience where I work with people with absolutely no resources before.
Right.
Now I work with people who are celebrities, millionaires, billionaires in the Hollywood world, everything, and I'm like, everyone still suffers.
right.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't
So
matter how much you have. I don't know.
that goes to show, you can't draw your happiness from the material world. You have to learn to live in it, enjoy it, but not get attached to it.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
right.
And what you talk about relationships, it's kind of like that's like a mega humongous
That's
sandwich
Right.
where you spent time and time where 1 month anniversary, then a
Exactly.
year anniversary, and then we have children, and then we
Right.
have a house together, and then it's just sandwich, sandwich, sandwich. It's a mega sandwich, and when
And
things
now-
fall apart, you're
right.
like, holy
Yeah.
crap, holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just more why people suffer is the attachment piece.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I think, is this the same question of how do people manage emotions? Kind of, this too shall pass.
Well, depends on which situations are we talking about here. How do you manage emotions? I would say meditation will help a lot with that. When you learn to see things with the emotion putting aside, a lot of things that that occur to you, either problem at your workplace. I've seen a lot of people who kind of blow off after some silly things that their colleagues done to them.
Right.
If you look at the problems just logically by itself, it's not a lot of things that we deal in our life. It's not that big of a deal.
But we cloud it.
Yeah, we're
with
clouded with
emotions.
emotions. And of course, I'm not saying that the emotion is bad. It's just that learn to control the emotions, and the way to do that, you can do it through practicing meditations. Because by doing meditations, the practice will help you focus on the problems logically and take away the emotions from all the problems that you see on your daily life.
Yeah. Why is it so difficult for people to practice meditation if it's so helpful?
Yeah. So why is it so hard for the people? Yeah, because the purpose of meditations is, and I said it's so easy. It's hard for a lot of people to do because we live through our five senses of seeing, smell, taste, hearing, and touch, and doing the meditation does not require any of that. So a lot of people who never done any meditation before, they don't know how to sense the inside of your body because they never done it. So
Right.
and doing meditations does not require to use any of your senses, does not require any thoughts. But in your daily activity, we think everything all the time. Especially with the social media, with smartphone that we have,
Right.
we constantly bombarding with information all the time, and those information comes to us through all of our five senses.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start doing a meditation without requiring to do any of that, it's like learning how to ride a bike for the first time. You
Right.
just don't know how to do it.
Right.
So, and that makes it hard for a lot of beginners, I think.
Right. The biggest toxin, I guess, according to Buddhism, is anger, greed, and jealousy.
Right.
Why is that?
So because those are the things that leads to you to break a lot of precepts.
Okay. What are
Right.
precepts?
So the precepts for a lot of lay persons are five. We have 5 precepts in Buddhism for lay people. First one is not to kill or not to take away life. Second is not to take away things that not belongs to you. Third is not to make it sound to make it simplify is not to cheat on other people through in your relationships.
Right.
The fourth one is not to lie, and that includes white lie as well. And the last one is not to use the addictive substance, including drinking, smoking, things like that.
Right.
So these are the things that you can. These are the precepts that often breaks by a lot of emotions that we talk about. The lust, anger, jealousy, greed, things like that. Those are the negative emotion that can lead
Right.
you to break out the precepts.
Any last things you can give the viewers who are watching that might be
Okay.
beneficial to help them improve their lives?
For a lot of beginners, I would say learn to do meditation first. That's how you create the foundations to a lot of things to come. Once you learn to do meditation well, then a lot of things it's like a tool that you use to achieve a lot of things in your life.
Right.
So, and once you learn how to do meditation well, then a lot of things like precepts and follow the rules and learn to control your
Right.
emotions, everything will start coming together. So, learn to do your fundamental well, and learn how to do meditation well. That's why I
Yeah.
would say the best thing you can do.
Yeah. So it seems like Buddhism is strip everything down.
Right.
Go back to the basics.
Mhm.
If you have an issue, go back to the basic, and the basic is meditation. Take out all your 5 senses
Right.
and get connected to the source. Get quiet, and the answers will just show up,
Exactly.
and it gives you the answer of how to live a simple, good life.
And the simple good life came from the fact that you understand what is important to you, not because the Buddhism says so. That's another thing you need to understand as well, that once a lot of people, even the people who are not Buddhists, realize this, that you don't need a lot of things in your life to be happy. And a lot of people seek living a simple life than to getting a really nice car or keeping up with the Joneses. So the simple life in Buddhism that a lot of people talk about and advocate for is because that's because you don't in your life you don't need a lot to be happy.
Yeah.
So
There you go. And we'll leave it at that. But thank you, Dan, for coming.
No, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I haven't seen him for forever. So
Yeah.
again, Dan is so knowledgeable. Feel free to ask him questions down below, and he can always answer them. Anything you guys have, send it his way. So thank you for
Thank
watching.
you. Thanks for watching.
Sweet.